Hi, everybody. This is Rob Cootie, the MLM Solution. Marie and I will be with you shortly at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, if you will, please share this video with our fellow network marketers all across the globe. You can do that by doing hashtag the MLM Solution. That's hashtag the MLM Solution. If you'll look at the ticker there at the bottom, you'll see the hashtag. Please share, use that to share our platforms with our fellow network marketers. Also, each and every day, Monday through Friday, we go live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all things network marketing, the good, the bad, and yes, even the ugly. We touch on things that other network marketers will not touch on. And we don't use filler material. We use actual business building practices, methods, and strategies to help you and empower you to do something special with this wonderful business model. With that being said, we'll be going live here very shortly. Just bear with us. Thank you.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rob. I am doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. And today is going to be a good one. We're going to podcast number 59. I can't believe it. 59 of these things. Telltale signs of a company in trouble. Why you need to know. Well, Miss Marie, hope you are doing well today. We got a good subject, one I'm excited to talk about. We had one that was similar to this not long ago. I think you called it, and you're the one that came up with the title, which was awesome. I loved it. The Hokey Pokey. I know Hokey Pokey was in there, but The thing is, it was referring, guys, just so that you know, Miss Marie in that episode was referring to what you as a distributor do. One foot in, 1 foot out. If you don't know what we're talking about, please go back and look for that. You can put in Hokey Pokey in the search bar on our YouTube channel, and you'll find it. But this one's different. This one is the telltale signs of a company that may be struggling, a company that's going through major changes, what that means to you, what you need to do. We're not going to be focusing on the distributor side. We'll be focusing on the company side. And that's the difference between these two things. And you need to know this because here's the thing. Your future is at stake. If you're not in tune with what's going on with the company, you could be caught with your pants down. There's no guarantees that you'll ever be 100% protective of yourself and your downline. But guys, as a leader, you've got to keep your ears open. And if this is your first time in here and you do catch lightning in a bottle, you may not be aware of the telltale signs, and that's the power of an episode like this. Right, Miss Marie?
Absolutely. And it's you want to keep in mind that we're advocating using the network marketing business model as a tool to build wealth, right? And we really advocate using the network marketing company that you choose as the tool or the vehicle that you're using in that endeavor. And like most things, you want to make sure it's in tip-top shape. So you want to make sure you identify issues early on, correct them if at all possible, or figure out what to do next if it's outside your control. So I think that's really what we wanted to focus on today, right?
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. And, the one thing we want to do, get across to them, Miss Marie, is not to overreact. Just because you see telltale signs does not mean that you need to prepare your people to jump ship, okay? And I'm going to tell you, you got to bite your tongue. If you're the type of person that likes gossiping, if you're the type of person that's always talking, in other words, I don't want to use this term in a negative manner, but a motor mouth. In other words, there's people that like to talk, okay? And sometimes I feel like that on these podcasts. But I know we only have an hour and try to get it out. But the thing is that you want to make sure that you don't jump ship, that you don't prematurely start spreading things. We talked about do not spread negative downline. I don't know. Did we do an episode on that yet? I don't think
I think we did, or if not, we've mentioned it in a few episodes for sure.
right. And it's imperative. We'll check it out. We may have done one. I think you're right. We probably have, but if we haven't, we will. The point is, you never, never, never pass negative downline. There's nothing that good comes out of it. And I'll just say that. So with that being said, guess what? You don't want to prematurely, even in a whisper to your top leaders in private. If you're having a leadership call, if you are hearing things, rumblings, if you will, from your leaders or somehow, guys, keep your mouth shut until you verify that information, until you know for sure that something's going on. And then you want to evaluate just how severe that thing that's going on is. And if you want to use a scale of 1 to 10, look, scales are always awesome. We don't have a scale for company issues. That's not what I'm saying. But scales work. Okay. And if it's something that you can say, well, it's only 3.5 at this moment, guys, that should tell you do not get serious. Once again, Miss Marie, you could use a scale and you could say, well, if it gets 5 and 6, then I may need to think about, talking to my leaders. If it's a 7 or 8, you need to talk to your leaders. Right?
Well, right. And I think the way I look at it, we'll get into some of these telltale signs. Sometimes if there's 1 or 2, it may not be a big deal. It may be something that's correctable, either something you can assist with or something the company is already very aware of and working on. And it's just something you want to monitor. But the main thing is you don't want to get people off track from doing their consistent and correct business building activities. You still want that focus being on everyone's 90-day mini blast. You want them focusing on the building of their business. You want to make sure if you're seeing some of these signs that, number one, like Rob said, you're identifying and verifying that there's actually an issue there. And then you have to decide, are there enough issues or are the issues of a high enough scale that you need to do something about them? Because the last thing you want to do is go to the leaders in your organization and just have basically gossip to talk about. It's like, oh, this stuff is going on, but you want to have a plan of action in place. Once you do go to your leadership and begin that conversation, you'll need to know, yes, this is serious enough. We need to make a move now. Or you're going to say, this is what's going on. You're kind of drawing a line in the sand of where if it crosses this point, then we need to make a move. So your leaders are just aware and they're ready to make the move, or you're making the move now. You don't want everybody all of a sudden distracted by, oh, do I need to keep an eye out for this and what's happening there? And then you've got people chit-chatting back and forth. So you really want to be clear on those things before you even start talking with your leaders.
Right. And, the one thing I want to make clear, because we've been talking about it a lot lately, and I think we talked about it yesterday, and I know we have in the past week. Look, your business is going to have challenges, guys. We've been preparing you for those challenges. All right. And guess what? Company's going to as well. It's a new company. It's a volatile environment. 90% of companies in their first 3 to 5 years go out of business. What does that tell you? It tells you that it's a tenuous process, the growth process that is. They're going to have challenges. So you don't want to be, every time something comes down the pipeline, wearing your downline out emotionally by telling them every little, well, they have a right to know. No, not in every case they don't. You're not withholding information. And you're not playing protector. What you're doing is using common sense, and you're being a real leader by understanding what's relevant and what's not relevant. Okay? That is your job, is to be a filter, not to be a broadcaster on everything going on, because companies are going to have challenges. And I'm going to tell you, Miss Marie, the owners of the company, the CEO of the company, whatever it may be, they're not going to tell their stockholders or their investors, whatever, every little challenge they have every day. They know going in that it's a young company and it's going to have problems. But they know that in that 8-hour period, 10-hour period, 12-hour period, whatever they're putting in on a daily basis, they'll work through those challenges and they'll find ways around them. Okay. And so they're not going to tell even the top producers what's going on. Because guess what? It's just what you said. They don't want you taking your focus off of what's really important. Guys, if you do that to your downline, you're mostly going to wear them out, and they're going to quit. They're going to slow down. You'll never build that speed and urgency because you're sabotaging yourself by telling people stuff that really doesn't matter, that really amounts to nothing. So you do not want to do that. But I wanted to bring that up, Ms. Marie, that companies are going to go do the same thing. This is not new news, okay? This is something that goes on with every new company. So if you take anything out of this so far, that's the information. Every new company is going to present challenges. But you have to learn when to speak and when not to speak. And you know what, Ms. Marie? We talked about how having your positive energy being eaten up by negative activity. Miss Marie, it applies to us too. When you and I hear it, we have to kind of put blinders on. We say, hey, that's a 3 on a scale of 10. I ain't worrying about it. Okay. Or, hey, that's a 5 or 5.2 on a scale of 10. I'm not worrying about it. Okay. Why do you do that? Because you got to keep blinders on too. You got to be emotionally even killed as well. So I wanted to bring that up because you brought up a really good point there in the beginning. And I just wanted people to understand that there is no way if you join a new company that it is not going to go through a lot of challenges.
Yeah, there's always that, growth that's going to happen, especially when you have the new company, because they may be introducing new products. They may be tweaking the compensation plan. They're changing structure. There are multiple things that are going to happen. Some may be telltale signs, some may not. Some may be correcting some of those signs that come up. So you just have to be aware. And a lot of it is recognizing that, potential issue. Do I have to deal with it now? No, let's file that away. We'll just monitor it later. We'll come back in a week or two and check and see, is it the same? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Kind of keep that evaluation to yourself and on the down low, at least until you have something concrete to deal with.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the common issues that new companies have that they typically overcome, but things that you do not need to be overly concerned about. Okay, customer service. When they first start out, they may only have 1 or 2 people. They may only have 3 or 4 people. They may contract that out. Okay, comp plans. Ms. Marie just brought it up. They may need to make adjustments. That's not uncommon. It's where big adjustments is where the problems start to come in. Okay, then there are shipping issues and warehousing issues. Most new companies can't afford their own warehousing. So what do? They rent or they hire a third party to do the warehousing for them and the shipping and the packaging. Okay. And then they have to find a production company. Okay. If they're doing, because look, there's production. Miss Marie and I can start a network marketing company tomorrow. It's no kidding. And we can go out there and we can look with Thompson's, there's a Thompson's directory, it's called. It's a directory of all businesses in the United States. And it's been around forever. But the point is, her and I could find a company that specializes in producing network marketing products. Okay. And they make all kinds of different products. And they have a great reputation. And they've been around for a long time. So Marie and I, we come up with our own ingredients by doing what? By hiring doctors and say, hey, we need something different. What do you got? Okay. And that's how you kind of get the ball rolling. Well, guess what? These third-party companies will do warehousing, they'll do packaging that the scientists create it. They send the formula to the production company. The production company looks, says, yeah, we can do that, or no, we can. And so then the ball starts rolling from there. That's how it works. Okay. So the point is that they're going to have sometimes some shipping issues. Okay. Because those companies handle more than one company. They're not going to just focus on Rob and Marie. Okay. If they have a strike, if there's overseas issues where you can't go into a certain port because of a volatile environment, guess what? The product may not be delivered. Israel is a prime example, Miss Marie. There's always challenges trying to get product into Israel, not only because of the kosher side, but because of the volatile environment that surrounds the country of Israel.
Right. And I was going to say too, here's an interesting aspect to think about. If you're catching a network marketing company early on, if you're one of the early adopters and you're coming in and you're doing those consistent, correct business building activities, following those 5 simple steps, and you're recruiting leaders and you're duplicating that process down the line, you might be part of the problem. You might be stressing their production and delivery capabilities. I mean,
Yes.
that would be kind of a good problem to have, right?
Yes, absolutely. The Richard Call problem is we'll call it, or syndrome. Yes, that's absolutely right. So the thing is that this is nothing new. And if the company that's, we talked about the other day, we talked about it. And as a matter of fact, you and I just updated this document, the 5 things a company must have. It's amazing how much the numbers come up in network marketing. Oh, who said that before? I think Rob and Marie always talk about the numbers in network marketing, right? The 5 things a new company must have in order to have a chance to do something special, right? Well, guess what? These 5 things is the things we're talking about right now, okay? And those 5 things include the issues that we're referring to, the comp plan, the leadership in the front office. And if the leadership, that's the reason why when you evaluate a new company, if you read the document that we provide, it's called the 5 things. And it's a free ebook. And we'll provide a link in the description box below, and you can get it for free. But here's the thing. That document refers to the network marketing experience that the leadership needs to have. Why? So they can overcome the issues that she's talking about. If you have a guy in there that's a CFO and he says, oh yeah, we've had to make adjustments in pay plans before. I know how to do it without rocking the boat. I know how to do it and keep the company stable and safe financially. The CFO has the experience. Okay, well, that's great. That means that new company has the right kind of leader in the right position, so that they can make those changes without jeopardizing this company's future. Same thing with expansion overseas, getting the product on ships to get it over there, or maybe planes if they're using that. We're knowing what ports to take it into. But believe it or not, there's cost to bringing products into ports and then having them picked up on trucks and shipped and making sure they arrive safely, because well, I'm sure it still happens in the United States, but it takes this, okay? If you got the dock hands, believe me, if you want your product to get from point A and point B and not be caught up in custom for a year, you need to know who to pay, okay? The point is, how do you know that? Experience, leadership experience in the front office. So, Miss Marie, well, that's the reason why it's so important to look for these 5 things a company must have. And when you look at the leadership, one of the biggest and most important questions you ask as you're evaluating this new company to see if you're going to join it, who are these people? How much experience do they have? And I don't mean being a leader. Anybody can be a leader. I'm talking about real leadership. Did they work with Nu Skin before? Did they work with Herbalife, Metaluca? What position did they have in the prior company? What were their responsibilities? How many people were in their department? Were they personally responsible for the expansion program, for product development? You see what I'm saying? Those are the things you look for. And these guys are proud of that history, and they'll make it readily available online. And Miss Marie, I'm sure you have joined new companies. You have found this information yourself. Even before you ever knew anything about the 5 things, you go and you read about the leadership. Who are these people?
Yeah, you always want to know who you're partnering with in the business. Again, keep in mind, this isn't an employer-employee relationship, right?
Yeah.
This is your own business. You're partnering with this particular network marketing company to use as a vehicle to achieve your dreams. So you want to make sure you're partnering with the correct people.
That's right. So the thing is, once you do that, it tells you that you can focus on your business building process and not worry about the leadership, because they have prior experience, which tells you that if their company does go through challenges, these guys have the contacts, they have the knowledge. Hopefully they have the money to make these adjustments and keep the company moving forward, okay? And that makes those rough spots, Miss Marie, that new companies go through much smoother. They're still going to have them, but these guys have the contacts. They have the money. They know what adjustments to make. They know what decisions to make. And that is so, so important. So what are the telltale signs of companies having struggles? Well, one of the biggies, really, it's kind of a dual situation, is this. If the company, let's say, is a year old and it's already seeking additional income, investment money, and they're making adjustments to the comp plan at the same time, then typically that's a telltale sign. It's saying that the company is either experiencing tremendous growth or it's not experiencing a lot of growth, and they're really struggling to maintain. They don't have emergency funds enough, and they don't know if they're going to be able to make the payment to the distributors, so they got to make some adjustments. There's a lot. If those two things are happening at the same time, guess what? That's a big, big tell. That's like a 7 or 8 on a scale of 10, okay? You should really keep your eyes open. Doesn't mean they won't overcome it, okay? Because they could have had only 6 months of financing in the first, when they first started out, and now they're scrambling to find because they're doing so well, whatever the case may be. But once again, there will be telltale signs. If they're making adjustments just to the comp plan itself, that's not too terribly bad according to what they're doing. If they're making adjustments all across the board, that tells you the comp plan's not working. If they're making adjustments in 1 or 2 areas, that's kind of okay based on what they're getting rid of and how much of a change are they making. If they're making small adjustments to it in a couple areas, that's okay. If they're making big adjustments in a couple areas, then once again, that should raise your flag 7 or 8 on the scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so we just covered this, the comp plan adjustment and looking for more investment. That is one problem. It's 2 separate things going on at the same time, but that's one problem. But that raises your attention to 7 or 8. That tells you to keep your ears open, to talk to your leadership. Hey, did the company ever get everything worked out? That is your job, because that is a big tell. All right. If they're doing the comp plan by itself, that is a totally different thing if they're making small adjustments and not big adjustments. If they're making big adjustments, that means the comp plan is not working. They're losing top leaders. They got to do something drastically quick. The other thing is if they are looking for financing, the comp plan's fine. They're not making any adjustments, okay? But all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're hearing about they're seeking additional funding. That typically means what Ms. Marie just said, that the volume that's being created is so great, they were not prepared for that. And they've already burned through their emergency money, and they need more financing, okay? That's typically what's going on, all right? Sometimes they only get 6 months of it, because, if Ms. Marie and I are starting out and we want 3 years financing, and people are like, oh, hell no, we ain't doing that. And the best we can get is 6 to 8 months financing. If we really want to start the company, if we really believe in what we're doing, we'll take that 6 or 8 months and we'll work our tail ends off, because if we really produce stellar numbers, the other money will come. They'll say, okay, you guys have proven, you know what, you really know what you're doing. Things are going well. This is really a great return. Yeah, we'll give you more money. So that happens as well. Ideally, Ms. Marie, what you want is a company to be fully funded for 3 to 5 years. It doesn't happen very often, but it does in certain situations. But even then, that doesn't guarantee success. Just because a company has money doesn't mean people flush money down the toilet all the time with bad decisions. So just because they have the funding for that long doesn't mean they're going to be a success. But what it does mean is that you can forget about the funding and focus on the business building activity. And Ms. Marie, you and I have talked about, and I'll say this and then turn it over to you. Guys, you just want a company. If it's a new company, you just need it to be there for 3 years. That doesn't mean that you wish ill will on the company. That's not what we're saying. What you're doing is you're being a business builder, a professional, an entrepreneur. What does that mean? You understand that 90% of the new companies, typically go out of business in the first 3 to 5 years. So when you go in, like when I go into a new company, I know that. That's one of the things in the top of my head almost every day. That's the reason why I get my butt to work, okay? Especially if I come in after the company's a year old. I know my back's really against the wall, because that means that there's a 90% chance a company could go out of business, and I only got 2 years to maximize that opportunity. I can't be screwing around. So that is what you run into with a new company when it comes to funding. If you hear that it's 6 or 8 months old and it's already seeking additional funding, Ms. Marie, that should raise your up to about a 5 or a 6, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, and the additional funding question too, it can be, depending on the timing in the company life cycle, it can be multiple things. We've mentioned the fact that they're trying to keep up with production, right? If you have a big sales organization all of a sudden built and it's really kind of stressing their manufacturing and logistical aspects, that may be part of the problem. But they also may be preparing to roll out internationally into other countries, which requires different funding because, as Rob mentioned before, there's different fees and import, export, and those types of things that have to take place. It could also be in an effort to introduce new products, a new product line to help expand and grow the company. So part of the question is, what are they exactly looking for new funding to accomplish? That can be part of the equation as well. And then along the lines of the comp plan, and Rob, tell me if you think this is legitimate or not, but when they make changes to the comp plan, in my opinion, I think it's more important to look at what is the impact on that 10,000 group volume that you're trying to achieve each month. How is that going to impact that income level? If it doesn't impact or it improves it, that's great. But if they're tweaking things like a car program or executive trips and those types of things, that's a little less important. I think you're more concerned with tweaks to the compensation plan that are affecting your bottom line.
Yes. Well, you bring up, you consistently bring up really important points that people need to know about. And that's another example. And thank you for bringing that up, because she's right, guys. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would have thought about that in this episode, but really, I don't know if it deserves its own episode, but that 10,000 PV point that you're shooting for, which we always recommend, is critically important to your success. Because you can't look your prospects, your high quality prospects, in the eye. And I'm telling you, for all of you listening to this podcast, go to the company's pay plan that you're with right now and look what you would get based on creating 10,000 group volume. And we always tell you cold hard cash, because some of you are in a step or a step away program, whatever the case may be. And those are set up a little bit differently, meaning that you have to have 2 or 3 other leaders that break away from your organization. You still get paid on their volume. Like, for instance, without dragging this on, in those situations, Marie creates 10,000 group volume. She breaks away. In other words, that 10,000 group volume is no longer part of my group volume. But what happens is I get 2 to 3% or more, maybe 10%. I don't know. It's different, of what she's creating. And so I get a check, what they call a bonus check, from her group. Okay. And if she goes up to 50,000 a month, 60,000, guess what? That bonus check keeps getting higher. But my cold hard cash check is on what I've created in my whole organization. So that's a stair step or a step away, or what they call, that's probably one of the oldest comp plans around and one of the most stable. And even though it's a little bit different and tougher, it's a great comp plan because it's very fair and it's very solid. So with that being said, Miss Marie brings up a good point, is that 10,000 group volume cutoff point is this. If that comp plan adjustment is affecting that, how are you going to prospect high quality people? If that money was at $2,300 a month and then you take it down to $1,700 a month, that really can have a major impact. I would still promote it, Miss Marie, because I don't know what the person sitting across from me, how would I say, I'm not going to waste my time with this point is. In other words, would it have been 2,300 would have been okay, but 17's not? You see what I'm saying? They're thinking to themselves, hey, I know this is not enough money. If I got to work this hard to create just $1,700 extra a month, this is not worth it. So Miss Marie's absolutely right. That is a critical point to bring up, because guys, the 10,000 group volume, think about it. We always talk about, and this is related. Sometimes I know I get off on these tangents, but I tie them together because it's a moment to tie that important subject matter together so that you guys can grasp how this works. Always remember the 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 is always working, right? We all know that. We talk about it all the time. Okay. And then we always talk about 60 people, and we always talk about how you'll get 18 leaders out of that first third. Okay. And those leaders are all going to work at different levels. Some will be, 300 PV a month, and some will be 3,000 group volume a month. Okay. But they're all doing something and they're taking action. Okay. Well, think about it. You're doing that mini blast. We know 1/3 will do it now, 1/3 will do it later. That means out of those 60 people that you typically could have anywhere from 20 to 30, maybe if you're lucky, 40 people that will be doing varying degrees of business building activity. Guys, it only takes 10 other people to achieve 10,000 group volume in their business, and you're creating 100,000 group volume. That's the power of that. Okay. And Miss Marie, I'm going to tell you something. Creating 10,000 group volume is a real milestone, but it can be done. You're only asking for 100 people in your whole organization. Think about it. The other day, and I'm not going to dominate this conversation. The other day, I told that lady she had 384 people. She's not using the threshold of profitability. She don't even know what it is. But think about it, Miss Marie. Out of 384 people, one third of 384 is what? 113. So if we say, oh, okay, only 50% of those 113 are going to do 100 PV, Miss Marie, you're creating almost 6,000 group volume a month. You're on your way to 10,000 group volume with 384 people. That's all. So if you build an organization of 1,000 people, and you say, oh gosh, that's a lot of people. You know, if you sponsor high quality people, believe me, it will happen. Look, this lady's doing 384 and she doesn't even really know what she's doing. It's her first venture into this business. She's doing a phenomenal job as far as numbers go. But the thing is, how effective are those numbers? Miss Marie sponsored a lot of people when she first started. Guess what? How many of Miss Marie sat there and did nothing?
About a third.
Aggravated the crap out of you too, didn't it? Why weren't they doing anything? Okay. So if you're going to have the numbers and you say, well, Rob, that's a pie in the sky number. Well, you know what? You can say what you want. The fact is one third works. I mean, that's the way it is. If you only sponsor 10 people, guess what? One third is going to work. You're going to end up with zero. I'm going to tell you that because you didn't work the numbers. Okay. So if you do the numbers, I mean, thinking about Miss Marie, she could have over 6,000 group volume in her business already out of 384 people if she was doing the threshold of profitability. And if you show people why they need to do the threshold of profitability, how it's going to help them and propel them towards their ultimate goals, they'll say, oh, I'll do that all day long. I see the value in doing that. Okay. So the point is, Miss Marie's right. That 10,000 group volume is an absolute watershed moment for you in your business on the positive and the negative. Miss Marie, that's a great point on that comp plan. Thank you for bringing that up. But I wanted to tie all that together because that was an important teaching moment for everybody. It's one of those golden nuggets, maybe borderline platinum moment there.
Well, this is one of those where we're trying to appeal to people who are new into the industry,
Yes.
coming back into the industry, haven't been involved very long, but every once in a while you get the knowledge and depth of experience from Mr. Rob Cootie, and he accidentally goes off on a deep dive, and that was almost a little bit of one right there. So you got your money's worth today.
I backed off, but it was an important point. You see the point because you brought up a great point. And something I never brought up. You're absolutely right. If they make adjustments where the payout at that 10,000 group volume, that could really hurt your recruiting of high quality people, and it's going to hurt your results.
Yeah, you always want to be aware of anything that affects your bottom line, and any changes to the comp plan. That's the important place where I would look, at least starting out. It's like if it's a change to the dream car program, or when you achieve an executive trip or a special bonus, that's not quite as critical to me. Is it important? It can be, depending on what your goals are and how close you are to achieving those types of things. But the bottom line payouts based on the compensation plan, your group volume, that's really the important part, to see if and how much that's being impacted. Yes,
absolutely. And guys, as we close this particular subject, guys, realize we teach the 10,000 group volume threshold point for a reason. That's when your business becomes big time. That is when you're stepping over that threshold into the big time. But it should be something you shoot for because it gives you real money that can have a profound effect on your life. We don't just arbitrarily pick that number out of the air. Okay, 5,000 group volume is nice money, but it's not really, and it may change some people's lives. That's not the point. The point is 5,000 group volume, there's not enough numbers worked in there for there to be business stability. You'll have a nice ride for a year, maybe 14, 15 months, and things will start going like this, okay? But if you get to the 10,000 group volume, that means you have enough numbers working in your favor where you're going to have a stable business and you can depend on it for a while. And that's what you're going to promote to your people. That's what you told them when you were prospecting them, that they have a real possibility to create the lifestyle money that they want, okay? And if you're not shooting for the 10,000 group volume, you are lying to them, okay? And if you're not promoting that to them and sharing this same information we're sharing with you, you are lying to them. You're taking advantage of them. You're not empowering them with the right knowledge where they can do what they want with their business. Okay. So Miss Marie, that was an awesome thing. And they did. They got an additional teaching moment there, but that was powerful. So another thing that you telltale sign, the product, the pricing of the product, as well as potential problems with the product. Okay. If it's a one product company, be honest with you, Miss Marie and I talked about it. You're in big trouble based on what it is. If it's a juice, there are companies that make it as a one product company with the juice. But guys, think about it. You have automatically put a limit on what you can do financially with that company. Why? Because that juice bottle, that one case, whatever it is they're wanting you to buy every month, can only produce so much money. Okay. And if you have 2 or 3 or 4 of the top leaders that are making a ton of money, it's over in that company. There's no more room. They'll have a list of top 10, top 15 people. But guess what? Number 14 is not going to overtake number 4. Okay. It's not a pyramid. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's not enough profit. There's not enough volume created by that one product for you to move up. Okay. Unless you just become a recruiting machine, and you can do that. But guess what? Every comp plan has its limits on how many people you can sponsor. You can sponsor 100 people, only get paid on 60 of them. Okay. So why sponsor the other 40? It doesn't do anything. Okay. Well, it creates more volume. You're right. Those people are creating volume, but you're not getting paid on it. The company's making a ton of money, but you're not. Okay, you're still getting paid on 60 people. All right. So it's a comp plan situation we're not going to get into here, but that is an insight into that. Okay. But the thing is that the product is overpriced, which we have with Agile. It was overpriced. It was a great product, great delivery. Everything was lined up to do something special with this company, and they screwed it up because they overpriced the product. And people were willing to put up with that for a while as long as they were making money. When the money became a problem for them, in other words, in their household, and they're looking at their bills and saying, well, I'm paying $300 a month over here for these Agile products, and I've got 2 bills here that total $240 that I'm not paying because I'm buying this product. Okay. People are going to say, you know what, that Agile shit's going away. It's too expensive. It's a nice product, but it's not, turning my world upside down with all the positive things it's doing. You know what? We need to get back to paying these bills. And guess what, Miss Marie? As you know, the auto ship numbers would change real quick because it was too expensive. Okay. And people couldn't see that the benefits, and rightfully so, I agree with them. The benefits that the product produced, which were nice, were not overwhelmingly good enough to justify the price of the product. Right?
Exactly. Or the amount of time they're investing into building their business, they're not able to recoup what they're outlaying each month in their product purchases in terms of what's coming in from a business standpoint.
Absolutely. And Miss Marie, we talked about getting your first check, which I think is one of my favorite episodes. Guys, go back and listen to that. It's powerful. You got to get your people that first check. Excuse me. It is part of this discussion here. We'll talk about why here in a moment. But Miss Marie, another thing is you not only get people the first check, but in the second or third month, you want that check to cover their auto ship, so that the spouse doesn't say, look, you're spending $300 a month on this. We need that money, where you can go, hey, let me show you something. Look, we're making $400 a month. It's covering that. Plus we're making $100 profit. Okay. So you want to cover that auto ship as quickly as possible. If you do what we teach you, the 5 simple steps, I'm telling you, that will happen. Okay. And you got to shoot for that 10,000 group volume. You say, Rob, that's a big number. It's not a big number. You got to break it down into small bites. You eat an elephant one bite at a time, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what you're doing here. We show you how to do that. What do you mean? We show you how to get started correctly. We show you how to get the duplication process started correctly. From day one, we show you how to get that first check. Okay. We show you all those steps. Very simple, straightforward, easy to do steps. Right, Miss Marie?
Yep. All part of the 5 simple steps that we advocate.
That's right. And you'll know exactly what to do, and you'll see the results, and you'll say, oh, I can do that, because it's broken down in small chunks, which lead into big chunks. So with that being said, look, the product pricing can be a real issue. And if the company's adjusting the product, especially if they're raising the price, that is something that you're going to have to really look at, because look, it's going to force people to make a decision like we just talked about. When the cost of their monthly ownership keeps going up, where it challenges them and their ability to pay other bills, okay, or to have that pizza that they have every Friday night, or take the family out to the movies every Friday night. If it starts affecting those family unit things, guess what? That extra payment that they picked up in the business is going to come under scrutiny. Okay. So the companies start making adjustments on the cost of the product, then there's a real issue there. Another thing is shipping. If there's shipping issues, in other words, you sponsor Miss Marie, let's say she's in Australia, and we know each other, we worked with each other before. She calls me and we talk, and she says, hey, yeah, let's work together. Let's make this happen. And she can't get product. And Miss Marie, I've been there. Building a business overseas, and they're telling you, yes, we're getting it there. We're getting it there. We got some problems, some legal issues we're working out. Basically, that means this. It means you got to pay off the right lawyer to get the product off the ship or out of the warehouse into the streets, okay? Because the product typically is made it there, okay? But there's certain countries where, you know, the unions and all this and that. I'm telling you guys, this is real world issues. And the point is, Miss Marie's out there, and she's built a business. She's like, Rob, I've got 400 people in my business. Nobody has any product. They're buying into this because they trust me, but I can only hold this together for so long. What's going on? Okay. If you have just Australia as an issue, that could be, you're like, okay, that's a 3 or 4 in scale of 10. But if you start hearing about it in other countries, Japan, and all of a sudden it's not just Australia, but 3 or 4 others, guys, that is a 7 or 8 on that scale of 10, right, Miss Marie? Have you ever experienced that?
Actually, I have not had issues with product shipment. Fortunately, I've certainly heard about them, but personally, I haven't experienced that. Hiccups, yes, but long-term, not able to get product into a particular country or an issue like that, I personally haven't, thank goodness.
Well, you can imagine what a challenge that is.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
just using that example. Yeah. How do you hold it together?
Well, because the other aspect to that problem is it's not just your business builders. Business builders, you can hold together a little bit longer because they're invested. They see the dream, they see the goal, they know what they want to achieve. But as you're building your business, you're also building a customer base. Well, your customer base goes away real fast if they're not getting product. Because no product, no customers.
Right. You can't even create volume. You got a 400 person group. You cannot create any volume. Nobody's making any money. And that momentum and that excitement just fizzles out. And it's like juggling 4 pails of water and not spilling a drop. Miss Marie be like soaking wet because she can't juggle all 4 of those and not spill a drop. Why? Because people are not going to stick around if they aren't making money. Well, how do you make money? By creating volume. How do you create volume? By product moving. If you ain't got no product, you ain't creating nothing. And she's on the phone all the time. Don't stick around. I promise you, it's coming this week. It's coming this week. It is a nightmare. Okay. So that's another telltale sign that you do not.
I think the biggest issue with that telltale sign is if it's becoming a long-term issue where product is not moving, you start kind of dipping into potential legal issues. Because the fact that there is product movement is what makes the network marketing model legal and a solid form of business, right? Yes. If it just all of a sudden it's become only recruiting and there's no product involved, that is a big red flag.
Yeah, it's a big red flag. So with that being said, another thing, as much as you hate to bring it up, Miss Marie, if we will, maybe we ought to put on there in a future list a 10,000 group volume thing. And there was another important issue I was going to talk about here. I'll think of it here in a moment. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, another thing is embezzlement. As much as you hate to say, it does happen in this industry. Okay. And if you're hearing about one of the people in the front office that money's disappearing, guys, that's a biggie. That's a 789 right off the bat. Okay. If they don't fix that right away and rectify that, guess what? That is real grounds for you to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That is going to have to be a case-by-case basis. It's too deep for us to go into here. It's a delicate subject. I have seen that happen before. It was handled correctly and quickly, but the bottom line is it did happen. Some people get around big money and they think they can pull it out and hide it. without somebody else knowing, okay? So a lot of times the smart CEOs will have, unbeknownst to the other leadership, an audit company that's constantly monitoring the books without the CFO knowing, okay? Because they want to know if somebody's tinkering with the money. So I bring it up only because it is an issue at times. I rarely have seen that, although I have seen it in person, unfortunately. So I just wanted to bring that up. Additionally, as far as the product goes, and when they're talking about the shipping, well, it's one and the same, expansion into other countries, okay? If a company is not expanding into overseas markets, they're basically focused on Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and they're telling you, hey, we're just going to do that. We're not going to worry about other parts of the world. We're just going to worry about the North America side of the world. Guys, that is a big telltale sign. That's a 5 or a 6. What they've done automatically is put a ceiling on what you can earn in that company. There's very little growth. Remember, the Asian countries and some parts of Europe are bigger markets, and it's Australia. Australia is a big market. They are much stronger with network marketing than United States, Canada, and Mexico combined. Matter of fact, Mexico and Canada are far better than the United States. The United States lags behind everybody because of their cynical outlook, okay? It does not mean you cannot build a successful business here. But a smart business builder, and we might want to do this future episode, Miss Marie, is that a smart business builder immediately starts building overseas through the people they sponsor in the United States. Why? Because we call it getting under your people. Why? Because we understand that there's excitement and momentum in the overseas markets that we don't have here. So we use the people in the United States as a gateway to get to people overseas. The first questions we ask, do you know anybody in the other countries? We're going to be expanding into Australia on December 1st. And we can really get into that market, and through you, and you can dominate that market. And people will work with you and put you in contact with those people. That's what we do. That's the approach we use because we understand how to build a business, and we understand the market of North America. I get excited going into Canada. It's definitely better than the United States. Mexico, certain parts of Mexico are very good. Okay. So, but it's limited, and I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that. Okay. So the thing is, guys, is that you have to understand that expansion is a big part of the company's set of the growth of the company and the growth of you. And if they're not going to expand in those other countries, or they say, hey, I'm only going to go in 10 or 12 countries overseas, what does that tell you right away? That you are limited, which once again means that your chances of being in the top 5 or top 10 of the money earners in the company are very slim. Okay. It almost becomes a pecking order setup. And what I mean by that is that the people that got in and got to work right away ate up those top numbers, and there's not enough growth for you to catch up or pass them up and become number one in the company. Okay. It's just not enough enough growth markets there for that to happen. There's limited growth possibilities there. So if a company says, oh yeah, we're not going to worry about it, we're only going to do this, we're only going to do that, and we'll think about it down the road. Guys, I don't know about you. I'm not putting my effort and time behind a company that does not have a bright future, because that means I don't have a bright future. And it means I'm going to be lying to Miss Marie when I'm sponsoring her, when I'm taking her through the prospecting process. Oh yeah, you can have an incredible lifestyle, an incredible income. I know in my mind, the chances of her doing that are very small. In a company that is doing it right and expanding in a methodical, proficient way overseas, there's unlimited possibilities of what Miss Marie can do, okay? Because there's so many new markets opening up, which gives her a wonderful worldwide opportunity, okay? But if the company says, no, we're only going to do 10 or 12, and they may stick around. They may be around for 8 or 9 years, but you know what happens? Miss Marie, they flatline. Mm-hmm. They flatlined at 80 million a year, 100 million a year. You say, Rob, that's a lot of money. Yeah, it is. But you know what? About 60-70% of that is going to be gone. Operating expenses, taxes, all of that. Okay, so you're only talking $30 million, which is a lot of money to you as an individual, but as a company, that ain't a lot of money. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, is it worth it for me to put my effort behind a company like that? My answer is a no. That's a 7 or 8 big time on a scale of 10. What do you think, Miss Marie?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I think the key thing to realize is the timing in terms of the growth of the company. If you're coming in and it's early on and you're within the first 6 months of this company launch and they're in North America, they haven't gone international yet, but they are projecting that, yes, starting in 3-4 months from now, we're going to start expanding internationally. That's different than some, gray area. Well, we'll see how things go and then maybe we'll expand. You want a definitive horizon for international expansion.
Absolutely, yes. And most companies will put it on their website, guys. They'll brag about it, they'll promote it because they're excited and they want that momentum and that excitement going into that new country. So this will not be secretive information. They'll be screaming it from the rooftops. Okay, so this should not be a hard thing for you to find out.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you have a bunch of big time leaders leaving the company, okay, if companies, most legit companies are going to have a top earners list. Look, if Miss Marie and I own a network marketing company, we understand that we have to create excitement. We have to create, it's marketing. Okay. And we have to market success stories. Okay. That's what keeps things going. We have to market unique that companies are going to be proud of their top earners. So they're going to let people know, yes, look what's possible. And they're going to have these people on stage. They're going to talk about their lifestyles, because as redundant as that is, and as ridiculous as I think that is, people eat that up because they want the cars, they want the homes, they want the travel, they want the freedom. That's what sells. Okay. And I get that. And I'm not against it. I'm just saying that, when I go in a company, I was like, okay, I already know all this stuff. I don't need to be, because I'm not going to use that false motivation. You know what motivates me? The ability to make money. Okay. So that's what motivates me. But the point is, if top leaders are leaving, and I don't mean just one, okay, I mean, if you have a top 10 and 3 or 4 are gone in a 3 or 4 month period, guess what? Especially if they're gone in the same week, guys, that's a 9 or a 10. Okay, and I don't believe in giving 10 scores on anything, but that's way up there. Okay, that means that these guys who are connected understand there's something going on in the ownership, there's something going on with the financing, there's something major that's going on, and they're like, I'm getting the hell out of here and I'm taking my people with me. Okay, and a lot of times they have to sign a non-disclosure that they can't go out and say and start bashing the company or starting this. Okay, otherwise they won't get their checks. And a lot of the are written that way, Mr. Marie. I don't know if you know that. They'll have to stipulate that if you leave the company and you badmouth it, we can stop your checks. Because look, because not all your downline may leave. And some companies, even in the bylaws, say, well, Rob, if you leave, you give up all the volume. We're not sending you any checks. And that's another way they quote unquote try to trap you. But the bottom line is that if you're going to see a bunch of leaders leaving, guys, that's a big tell. That is something major is going on, and you need to have one foot in, one foot out. Okay. And now let me just give you this domino effect scenario real quick. If you have 2 or 3 of the big leaders, and all of a sudden their names are gone on the list, and you should check that list 2 to 3 times a week to make sure that list does not change. Okay, that's how, as a leader, you lead your group. Now, here's the thing: if you notice that 2 or 3 leave, and you start asking questions, and everyone's kind of mum, that tells you, okay, that something's up. Okay, even if they don't tell you what it is, you don't need to know the reason. If they're mum, that is big time. Additionally, if all of a sudden out of the blue you see adjustments to the comp plan or the product, then guess what? Now you're starting to get a lot of different tells. And Miss Marie, what does that tell you? You almost have to have both feet out of that company. You better start getting ready to think about talking to your leaders, because something major is going on. All right.
Right. Like we said at the beginning, some of these signs that we're talking about, onesie, twosie, depending on what they are, the severity may not be a big deal. But if you see a number of them combining together, that can be indicative of a much larger issue.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. Your people are going to appreciate you, not everybody, because some people in your downline is going to love the company and love the product, and they're going to be totally dedicated. And there's nothing you can do for those people. Here's the thing. A lot of your people are going to have great respect for you making the tough decision. And you do not have to wait for your downline. If your downline says, no, Rob, I'm staying here, then I have a personal decision to make. Okay. And I've done that before. And they're like, okay, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm not going to waste my time because I know what's coming. And it did come 3, 4, 5 months down the road. I can't remember. But the point is, it did come. Okay. The thing is that I had to make a tough decision for myself because it was my future. All right. And I did not want to go down with the ship. I had gone through that before, so I wasn't willing to do that again. Right. And so the bottom line is it was a tough decision because I loved the company and I loved the direction it was going in, but it just, floundered out. So I had to make that decision and move on. And I didn't regret that decision, and I didn't sit and moan about it. I regretted that it had to happen, but the bottom line is I had a future to build and I had to move on, and I made the right decision. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The people that stayed behind paid the bigger price. Okay. Why? It's not because of the money. Look at the momentum they lost. Look at the reputation. They took a hit. If they said anything to downline, well, let Rob go where he wants. I think he's making a mistake. I think, the company's telling this. The company's not going to spread negative because then they sign their own death certificate. They're constantly going to promote, yes, we're making this move. We're doing this. We really feel good about where we're going, blah, 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 blah. They're going to do that. What you have to do is see through that and say, hey, okay, I listened to what they had to say, but let's look at the reality of the thing. Let's look at the facts. 4 of the top 5 people are gone. They've made major adjustments to the comp plan. It's not really as fair as it was before. They've made some adjustments to the products. There's a bunch of things that have happened that all that together, as Miss Marie says, makes all those little things make one big thing. All right. So that means that I have to make a tough decision. I need to get out of here. And the people that stay behind, guess what? They took a hit, big hit on their reputation. You didn't follow Rob. Rob left. He told us. And then you said, well, no, but I thought. And those people will never, typically, Miss Marie, they won't ever work with that person again because they realize they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you have to be careful because the company's always going to present the situation as the glass is half full. You have to do your due diligence and figure out what that glass is half full of.
Dude, you dare say? I like that. That was good. Yes, very good point. Well, we have brought up a lot of great examples here. And really, guys, what it means is, ultimately what it means as we kind of bring this to a close. Look, if it's one big thing, you need to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out and keep your ears out. Okay. Don't make a rash decision on one big thing unless it's major, catastrophic, financing. We're running out of money. If you find out the company's only got a month left of money and this and that, there again, it's a judgment call. It's a decision you have to make personally. There's no guideline we can give you. We give you the scale, but that scale just gives you a guideline. You still have to make a decision. Additionally, if it's not one big thing, it's a combination of small things that happen in a short period of time. Then it adds up to one big thing. Okay. In other words, these little things are that, but all of a sudden, when you put it all together, it's this. And guys, we gave you some of the telltale signs of what those things are. You owe nothing to the company. The company owes nothing to you. It's an entity that you tap into to create the income and lifestyle you want. We tell you that all the time. You already know that. Okay. The company doesn't care about you either. They say they do, but they don't. You know why they care about you? Because you're spending money. All right. Now, I'm not saying they're cold-hearted. That's not what I'm getting at. Okay. The company could be run by compassionate people. That's fine. But guess what? They're going to make decisions based on what? Survival. And it's not going to have you at the center of that survival. Okay. They're going to look at the bottom numbers. Those numbers come from you, the volume you're creating, the product you're moving, and the income that's coming in for all that. That's what they're going to look at, right, Miss Marie? That's how they're going to make their decisions. That's how you have to make your decisions. So one big thing, you'll have to make that choice. If I hear one big thing, I keep my mouth shut. I keep my ears to the ground, Miss Marie. I do some investigative work to find out if that's true. And then I start finding out, okay, what do I want to do? What's my exit strategy based on what I find out? If it's not one big thing and it's a combination of small little things that all add up to one big thing, again, I have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Okay, but I don't rush to judgment right away. Okay, and I don't just do 1 day of investigative work, Miss Marie. When I find these things out, my investigative hat is on every week. I kid you not. It's another additional duty on top of my business building activity. Why? Because I need to know. I need to be prepared. Am I going to get caught with my pants down? Maybe. But if I did everything I could do and the company, unbeknownst to me, closes its doors overnight and I wake up the next day and it's gone, there's nothing I could do. I did everything I could. I did the investigative work. I stayed on top of it. I was listening. I was investigating, and I was getting ready to make a tough decision. And all of a sudden, they beat me to the punch. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to feel good about it, and I'm going to tell that to my downline and say, well, on this date, I found this out. I talked to this person, and this was what was going on. And I didn't want to tell you guys because I needed to get more information. Next thing you know, they're gone. Your downline will get that. Okay, they'll understand. Right, Miss Marie?
Yep, that's the best you can do, quite honestly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we covered it good enough. You have anything to add, Miss Marie? I think we covered it really well. I don't think we need to worry about that.
No, I think once again, we've brought some information that you're really not going to hear anywhere else. You're not going to hear other leaders in the network marketing industry talking about this kind of stuff, much less making recommendations of what to do and how to manage it. So as always, if you like what you hear, you understand the points we're making, be sure to give us a thumbs up, the heart. Rob likes those dancing bears, if you can find those. I still haven't found one. I think they're out there somewhere. We always appreciate that kind of feedback. And of course, you can find us across all of the social media platforms by searching hashtag the MLM solution. That's hashtag the MLM solution. And please like, comment, share our various social media platforms. The more people that have this information available to them, the more successful your business can be in building. And again, it's about the duplication. So if this information is important and helpful for you, it will be the same for your downline. And of course, YouTube, feel free to find us there, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification, that little bell, and you'll get notifications when we're live and have some new information available to you. And last, but certainly not least, please visit our website, themlmsolution.net. That's themlmsolution.net. Tremendous amount of material there, quite a few things available for download, absolutely free to you at this time. So I strongly recommend you go check that out.
Well done, Miss Marie. Well done. All right, guys. Tomorrow's subject matter is going to be effective communication, the backbone of the business. And we're not just talking about talking like Miss Marie are doing here. Guys, we're talking about effective communication. You have to be able to relay with your mouth, not only to your prospects, effectively, in a way that will motivate and excite them and want them to know more, but at the same time, it's critical that you have effective communication with your downline and your leaders. That's totally different than just talking, okay? We're talking about effective communication. Once again, a subject matter that no one else addresses. Once again, you're learning all these details and how to build and put together a stable, productive, and proficient, and more importantly, a profitable business. And the effective communication is absolutely essential. And Miss Marie, effective communication includes what we're talking about today, which is tough subjects. Okay, you got to have the guts to address quickly. You can't leave that splinter in your thumb or gangrene will set in and you'll lose that thumb. Same thing here. You cannot allow your hesitancy to hinder effective communication that could save your business instead of losing it. So not to be to overhype the subject matter, you can see where each one of those subjects that I just talked about, they all have different effective communication approaches, prospecting, working with your leaders, etc. So you don't want to miss that episode. If you're going to learn how to work this business and make it stable, you need to know how to effectively communicate with people. And we'll cover that tomorrow. All right, Miss Marie, I think that's good enough for set up for tomorrow. Thank everybody for as always for everything. I've been so impressed with the numbers. I saw more good numbers today, and I always brief Miss Marie on it. So thank all of you for that. All right, Miss Marie, I'm going to hop off of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, take care, guys.
Welcome to the
Oh, wrong one.
Let's start over.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.